everyone, and welcome to Uncle Teddy Bear Cooks. My name is Uncle Teddy Bear. You can also call me Ken. And today we are going to look into the history of something that has been a part of my life since I was born. Today we are going to explore the rich history and cultural significance of a traditional dish that I grew up with. And it's a meal that's close to the hearts of many Newfoundlanders, the Jiggs dinner. This humble yet hearty meal has been a staple in Newfoundland and Labrador for generations. And today we'll explore its fascinating origins, cultural importance, and why it remains so beloved. So sit back, relax, and let's take a trip to Canada's easternmost province. To understand Jiggs dinner, we need to travel back in time to Newfoundland's earliest settlers. These were tough, resilient people, many of whom came from Ireland and the west country of England in the 18th and 19th centuries. They brought with them not only their traditions, but also their culinary practices. One of those practices was preserving meat through salting and curing, which was essential for surviving Newfoundland's long, harsh winters. Back then, meals needed to be practical. And what could be more practical than a boiled dinner? These early settlers cooked up hearty meals of salted meat and boiled vegetables, simple, nourishing, and using ingredients that could last through the winter. But where did the name Jiggs dinner come from? It's actually a nod to a comic strip character from the early 20th century. Jiggs was the main character in the comic Bringing Up Father, created by George McManus. Jiggs was an Irish American who was always dreaming about corned beef and cabbage, a popular dish among Irish immigrants. Newfoundlanders saw a reflection of their own beloved meal and started calling it Jiggs dinner. So what exactly makes up a Jiggs dinner, you may ask? The centerpiece of the meal is salt beef. Or sometimes, I've never had it personally, salt pork. This is meat that's been preserved in brine, a method that allowed Newfoundlanders to store it for long periods. Salt beef was essential for a region where fresh meat wasn't always available, especially during the winter months. The salt beef is boiled and accompanied by an array of vegetables, most often cabbage, potatoes, carrots, and turnips. Though in Newfoundland, turnips, even though I've never heard it there, are sometimes called rutabagas. These were all hardy, sturdy crops that could thrive in Newfoundland's cool climate and be stored for months. But that's not all. No. Jiggs dinner is never complete unless you have two additional elements: peas pudding and bread pudding, sometimes known as figgy duff. Peas pudding is basically made from yellow split peas, which are cooked in a cloth bag with the rest of the meal in the same water. It is so simple. But once the peas start cooking, they start splitting. And it creates a creamy, sturdy, hearty, stick to your ribs with a mild flavor that pairs perfectly with the salt beef. And pepper. Oh, if you've ever had pea soup, you put a lot of pepper in it, good. And the bread pudding, same thing. Mixture of bread. Some people put raisins in it. Some people don't. Serves as a rounding the meal and bringing it all together. But that's not it. There's also, you could have beet salad and mustard salad, which is basically potato salad with beets added to it, and it gives it this nice pink color that you just have to see to believe. And mustard salad, same thing. Basically potato salad with mustard added to it, a lot of mustard, and creates a vibrant yellow scoop of goodness. Jiggs dinner isn't just a meal. No. It's a tradition that's deeply rooted in Newfoundland's culture. For many Newfoundlanders, it's the quintessential Sunday dinner, a meal that brings family together. It's often associated with special occasions, holidays, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, or any sort of special occasion. Church suppers, where everyone gathers around the table to share in the comfort of a home-cooked meal. The dish also tells the story of Newfoundland's resilience. In a land where fresh produce was scarce for much of the year, Jiggs dinner made use of preserved and stored ingredients. It's a reflection of how Newfoundlanders adapted to their environment, making the most of what they had and turning it into something delicious. And let's not forget the role of the fishery. Salt was essential in preserving Newfoundland's most important export, cod. The same salting process used for fish was applied to beef and pork, which eventually became the cornerstone of the Jiggs dinner. The dish is as much a part of Newfoundland's economic history as it is its culinary history. So what about Jiggs dinner today? Well, it remains a beloved tradition in Newfoundland and Labrador, even as modern convenience have made fresh meat and produce more accessible year-round. Jiggs dinners has held up to its place in the hearts and stomachs of Newfoundlanders. The dish is more than just food. It's a connection to the past, a reminder of the traditions and resilience of those who came before. Whether it's prepared at home for a Sunday family meal or enjoyed at a local restaurant, Jiggs dinner continues to bring people together. And like any traditional dish, there are variations. Some families swap out salt beef for salt pork, or add different vegetables to the mix. Despite these tweaks, the essence of Jiggs dinner, a hearty, comforting meal centered around salted meat and boiled vegetables, remains unchanged. You do not even have to add salt to the water, as there's so much salt content in the beef that it salts the water, salts the veggies, and everything else. And it is superb. What's interesting about the Jiggs dinner, though, is its connection to the Irish diaspora. The dish bears a strong resemblance to corned beef and cabbage, which was a staple for Irish immigrants in North America. This connection reflects the shared heritage between Newfoundland and the Irish diaspora, as both regions have strong ties to the sea and a history of immigration and adaptation. Jiggs dinner is a perfect example of how food can carry the stories of a people, telling tales of hardship, survival, and eventually celebration. It's a dish that has been passed down through generations, connecting families not only to their own history, but to the broader history of Newfoundland and its ties to Ireland and England. In the end, Jiggs dinner is more than just a meal, it's a legacy. It's a culinary tradition that has stood the test of time, adapting to changing the world while holding on to its roots. It's a dish that embodies the spirit of Newfoundland, practical, hearty, and deeply connected to the land and sea. So whether you're enjoying Jiggs dinner with family on a Sunday or discovering it for the first time, know that you're just not eating a meal, you're partaking in a piece of history that spans generations. That's all for today. Thanks for listening to the history of the Jiggs dinner. I hope you've enjoyed this journey, and maybe, just maybe, even felt a little inspired to try to make it yourself. It's a very simple meal to do. Just remember to rinse the salt beef before you put it in a pot of water. If you liked what you heard, today, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, keep exploring and keep tasting. Until next time, I'm Uncle Teddy Bear, and this has been Uncle Teddy Bear Cooks. Thanks for listening.